Hello, EA TV. It is nearing the end of Gamescom Day 4, but we're hot and fresh to you with some Command & Conquer Alpha playtest action. Once again, if you haven't tuned in, I am Matt Marcou with Victory Games.
And I'm Jason Savopolos. So again, Matt has said it is Day 4 of Gamescom. The absolutely busiest day this Saturday where all the gamers are here, not working on the weekday. It is extremely packed. Gamescom is actually sold out, of course, and there's just everybody in the hall trying to make the most of their time.
Yeah, like, I mean, I've been to Gamescom a couple years now, and this is the first year I've seen them open up like an outside area to funnel the crowd completely outside and around the building to get in the halls down here. And I see we've captured a lot of the people from those halls into the Command & Conquer booth.
Exactly. So, yeah, like he was saying, this year they have a double entry path, which was quite amazing to see. Double the lines, double the waiting, but overall it looked like it was a little bit more successful so people wouldn't trample on each other and rush and block each other out, right?
Yeah, and I think tomorrow we're gonna show you guys a clip of our experience at Gamescom, so you'll get to see that firsthand. But it's amazing to see that kind of stuff go on. But, you know, if you're not able to make it to Gamescom, we got you covered here if you want to see some Command & Conquer action. Today is GLA Faction Day, the Global Liberation Army.
Yeah, I am super excited for this. They're my favorite faction. Many other people love them. The theme of the generals are just so much fun. Now, a little bit of history of the GLA faction. They are more of the hit and run faction. They are very finessey. They use tunnel networks a lot of guerrilla tactics, and at the same time, a lot of their units are not the most powerful, but overall just enough to get in and out faster than the opponent themselves.
And that's really similar to the original concept in the first Command & Conquer Generals.
Exactly. It's one of those factions that we just basically planted from 0 Hour and the regular generals and put it into ours and updated it with some new flavors. But for the most part, it's almost one for one.
Great. Well, to kick off GLA Faction Day, get you guys in the mood, we have a little video clip to get you a sense of the GLA faction. We call it our faction focus feature.
And once again, 5 times fast?
No, not today.
All right.
Roll it.
Join us for an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the next installment of the most celebrated RTS franchise of all time. This is Command & Conquer Beyond the Battle, Part 1.
When our community installs the game, they start to play it. Our veterans, the people who've been with CNC since '95, when they install the game and they start playing, all I really want from them is to go, holy crap, this is Command & Conquer.
This feels like a Command & Conquer, a classic Command & Conquer game. It feels like Generals.
So the core concepts in the original Command & Conquer RTS games were really about building a base, defending that base, and building an assault army that you could go attack the other base.
First thing we said is we need to kind of wash the stain of CNC4 away. And to do that, you really have to get back to your roots, to get back to what it was that made your fans in the first place.
Well, to me, the roots of Command & Conquer are always about base building that doesn't feel like a chore, harvesting that doesn't require your full attention, and a focus on fast action and lots of viable strategies in the actual combat.
Going back to upgrades and abilities that matter, player powers that feel visceral, and then at the same time, super weapons, commando units are back, and then we're adding a couple new flavors in there like caster units that we haven't exposed yet to the public.
Well, we're all big Generals fans here, obviously. Looking at the old Generals, there's so many great ideas, so many great mechanics that they built in, so we were lucky to be able to cherry pick the ones we like the best.
Now choosing the General is a big part of the game, just as important as choosing the faction you wanted to play. Now, it's like having hundreds of factions, let alone just 3.
Each general will have its own set of abilities, upgrades, even player powers will change as well. Also, units will be dynamically taken out and different ones will be put in based off of what that niche of the general is.
The new generals that we're adding to the armies are really going to keep the gameplay fresh, right? It should make the game fun, enjoyable, and interesting for years to come.
So what I really find exciting about the next Command & Conquer is that this is a product that's going to be aimed directly to consumers, going directly to consumers and appealing to them for the success of the product, but more importantly for the feedback.
So fan feedback and metrics are absolutely amazing now in a connected environment. In the past, we just made a game, we put it in a box, we got the feedback years later, we can make a change in a sequel. Today, we can hear the fans immediately, we can look at the data, we can change stuff daily, weekly, monthly.
We can engage in this sort of ongoing conversation with our fan base, where if, say there's a general that we put out that we didn't balance quite right, we will get that feedback immediately. It's not like we're gonna be like, okay, well, when we do the expansion pack or in a patch in 3 months, we'll fix this.
It's gonna be one of those things where we kind of grow together, and that's what we want to kind of breed. It's a live product, and we want to make sure that the community at the core is part of that rendition of making this game better.
This is ultimately the fans' game, and we're looking forward to making the game better with them.
Absolutely, I'll play the new Command & Conquer when it comes out. I'm anxiously awaiting it, actually.
Our #1 priority has always been to make this a really fun, excellent game.
Everybody on the dev team loves the game, and they're doing the work where their heart is. So a lot of the times people stay late just to make sure that they make a better game because they care about what the franchise is. Everybody wants to make sure that they make the game that the community would love, and we're on the same page on trying to make it the best C&C possible.
Hopefully after doing this, I'll be on the beta, right guys?
The Global Liberation Army, or GLA, are the original Generals terrorist faction reborn. The GLA of 2023 have recovered from their defeat in the original Generals and returned revitalized. Their outlook genuinely global, and their guerrilla tactics now bolstered with a range of powerful military vehicles purchased via the post-Soviet black market and then hacked into newer, deadlier forms. The GLA emphasize hit-and-run tactics, low-cost, high-mobility units, and all kinds of devious subterfuge, notably toxin weapons and dirty bombs.
And we're back, guys. And that was a nice little double dose there, some action, some alpha gameplay action, as well as a little taste of the GLA.
Exactly, which is awesome because now we're going to show gameplay very, very soon. But I know there's some other things that you want to lead into, so I'm going to let you deal with the magic here, the hocus pocus.
Well, actually, what's been a really great time here, and like I said, we'll show some more videos tomorrow, but it's been a really great time, talking with the community and various fans about Command & Conquer. Someone who's done a whole lot of this week, immersing herself in the gameplay, is Mrs. Melonie Mac, our hostess with the mostest. Melonie, are you there?
Hello. Hi, everybody. How are you?
We're good, and I hope everyone out there is good as well. I'll answer on behalf of them.
I hear a yes. I'm confirming. Yes, it is a yes.
The masses at Gamescom, they were great.
Yeah, they're in the zone right now, obviously, right?
Nice. Well, I'm doing awesome right now. It's so much fun. Saturday, the busy day. I've been squeezing through the lines and getting through. I think I needed people to carry me just to get me there on time, and it's been tons of fun. GLA Day. Really excited about GLA Day because as of yesterday, I'm pretty much 1-0 GLA, right? You guys remember?
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
that was a quick win. I have to remember. I remember Jimmy not being so pleased about that one.
Yeah, that
so
was.
It was bane of his losing. I guess breaking his winning streak, right?
Yeah, I broke his winning streak, but we'll see. We'll see if his luck changes today, or my luck changes, I should say, whenever I face off against him again. But before that, I had a great conversation with JVC, talked about some C&C, got some more questions answered, and I want to show you guys a clip, so have a look. Hey guys, I'm here with John, also known as JVC. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Awesome. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do exactly?
Wow, okay. Well, I'm the general manager for Victory Games, so I oversee all the production of the game and hiring of the people and the budget, and I spend a lot of time on the game design, just about everything.
Wow, very big role, very cool role at that. So why don't you tell us about the free-to-play with Command & Conquer? I never would have imagined that, but I think it's really cool. Can you explain that a little bit, and also why you guys decided to go with the Generals universe?
Sure, so free-to-play is really kind of the way of the future for PC games, at least that's the way we think. And we're really excited about making this a game service, because we can add to the game on a daily basis, we can tweak it, we can take the player feedback, and just being a live game is the way to go, and free-to-play is the way that really works. And as far as the Generals universe, of course, that's the #1 ask from our fans has been, build us another Generals game. So with this new platform, this new engine, we decided Generals was the first one we wanted to do.
That's awesome. I'm personally a huge fan of this because I've been a fan of Generals forever, and I also love free-to-play. I love games that are constantly updated, so this is perfect. And one thing that I think is really neat is the Frostbite engine. Everyone thinks Battlefield, so how exactly does that work with Command & Conquer?
Oh, it's really cool to be able to use such a great technology like Frostbite and bring it to an RTS game. No one's done that before. We get all the benefits of the beautiful graphics, all the destructible environments, and all the physics that goes on. It's really cool, and to add that to an RTS gameplay, it's like no other.
Yeah, it looks great, so I think it's awesome. So what about the experience, Command & Conquer? There's a lot of Generals fans out there, so what are they going to get out of it, and also what new experiences in the Command & Conquer Generals universe are we going to expect out of this?
Well, absolutely, we want it to feel like a Generals game, and if anyone comes to the show or plays the game or come to the beta and play it, we want you to come away thinking, yeah, this plays like Generals. So, and then taking what was really cool in 0 Hour in terms of the expansion of, we touched on using Generals. Now we've really gone deep into all these new Generals. Each one has its own player powers, specific units, different tech trees. So every time you play the game with a different General, it should feel a little bit different.
So we're obviously all fans of the Generals universe, but what about all the other Command & Conquer universes? Will we see them in this free-to-play model?
Absolutely. That's been our plan as a live service, is we'll bring back the Tiberium universe, the Red Alert universe, and maybe even a new universe we're not talking about yet.
A new one? Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. So updates. Free-to-play is great because of the updates. How often can we expect to see updates?
Oh, absolutely. That's part of the plan as a service. So every week there should be some updates. There'll be new units and new Generals every month, new maps, new map modes. So will be special events on weekends. It's really going to be a lot of fun.
Fantastic. Keeping it fresh, keeping it awesome. There you have it. Thanks so much, JVC, and thank you guys for watching.
And we're back again to give you guys what you really want to see, some GLA gameplay. Joining me and Savop here are Jimmy Tran from the Victory Games QA team and Miss Melonie Mac, who somehow managed to get through the crowd in time from like the center of the A booth, which is like a feat. I'm actually surprised we got her here in one piece. So what do we have coming up, Savop, here?
So it looks like we have the Marauder gameplay. Jimmy's going to queue up here real quick, and he's going to queue right in with Melonie Mac. Melonie Mac going the Taskmaster for the APA. Now we're going to follow the camera of Mr. Jimmy Tran here, since it is GLA Day. The Marauder is one of my favorites. His personality comes through on his portrait really, really well, and he's definitely someone that you got to look out for on the battlefield.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, with a name like Marauder, he's got to be tough. He's got to be scrappy. I think he's a real embodiment of the GLA faction, or actually kind of like the new and reformed GLA faction. In the previous Command & Conquer Generals game, the GLA faction was, predominantly like a Middle Eastern force. This time they're like truly a global force, seeking to take down the man being the EU and APA faction. So Jimmy's going to try to stick it to the man, which that role will be played by Melonie today.
So awkwardly, yes. But it looks like, getting into the gameplay here, we have a barracks going off really quickly. Obviously, Jimmy really wants to get that production set up right away and maybe be able to scout almost immediately. He's already queued up his harvesters right now, and he's just trying to make sure that he gets to that optimization of 8 for the GLA.
Yeah, a note about starting the GLA faction. So the GLA are probably the most fragile faction, but they also are able to mass up really, really well. So you see, they require 8 workers to efficiently harvest their economy in the base there. Those workers are really easily killed, but if you do go up to them, you have to be prepared to face an onslaught of firebombs, because they can fight back to a certain degree against early infantry attacks.
Now, something real quick here. Obviously, Jimmy is not going with the command center, so his barracks, his war factory, they are not heading to Miss Melonie Mac over here. Melonie immediately, as you guys saw on the mini-map down in the bottom left corner, went for a command center. You can see the circular reticle there. So now all of her movement is hidden. This is why Jimmy's producing a lot of units right away from the barracks to actually go down to the bottom left corner of the map to see what is going on. He is completely invisible right now on what to expect, and that's what he needs to break away from.
Yeah, just so Jimmy went with a pretty standard start, War Factory. Basically at the start of the GLA faction, you have the option to go War Factory, which is what generates your vehicle units, or barracks, which obviously, which as it implies, brings out infantry units. We have a little bit of skirmish early on. Jimmy running out there with that Rabble Squad. Rabble Squad being the base faction, not very powerful there, knows he was not going to be able to stand up to the Red Guard in a 1v1 conflict. As you say, he has a second group of Rabble there. They are running away as well.
See, and what he did there that was really good, he knew he couldn't take them on one-on-one, and so immediately went to the garrison structures. Whoever gets there first with those garrison structures really gets the advantage of the building. And in this point, he doesn't lose the vision that he needs. He's playing the choke points of Melonie Mac to make sure that when she goes outside of her normal area of her base, he knows exactly what she's doing. And this is what he needs right now since he doesn't have that vision.
Yeah, and Melonie, kind of is wised up. I see kind of the evolution of her gameplay, whereas, yesterday Jimmy tried a garrison rush strat, and he caught Melonie kind of off guard. She didn't really know how to adapt to it. This time, Melonie playing really well, getting those shots and getting that damage and backing away, because it does no good to just throw away units in Command & Conquer. There is no sort of supply cap or anything like there are in some RTS games, so anything you can do to save those really, really helps.
Yeah, and it looks like right away Jimmy has spotted a quick oil derrick, and obviously Melonie's trying to get ahead here because she knows that right now she has the advantage since he's all the way across the map, right? So right at this point she went for an oil derrick, but Jimmy actually sees it right away because he just has that good map control at the moment. You guys see both the technical as well, which is going to counter those Red Guard fairly well. He's going to be able to kite her out of the way and then that way just pick her off. And you can see those Red Guards going down almost immediately.
Yeah, Jimmy doing a great job mixing up his forces there, both with vehicles and infantry. Scouting, doing his diligence, scouting out, seeing what is going on with Melonie, using kind of the speed advantage he has to see the whole map. It looks like both of them right now are kind of feeling each other out, playing the map control game, also looking to expand. Jimmy with some of his collecting some oil from those derricks, which gives him additional gold. Melonie having one down, but then getting it taken out.
Yeah. So I'm looking at her screen right now, trying to see what strategy she's doing. Since Jimmy doesn't exactly know at the moment, all he's really spotted are Red Guard and then also that oil derrick. So right now he's trying to take away the advantage. And it looks like Jimmy right away, since he doesn't know exactly what's going on, he's actually scouting every expansion point he can to make sure that he just basically takes away that macro game of the economy boom that Melonie would need at this point.
Yeah, no surprises. I mean, that's the name of the game, RTS. I mean, in order to formulate the perfect strategy, you need information. You get that information from making various things visible to you.
Yeah, and it looks like Jimmy finally made a command center. Now he has that GPS scrambler. He can use it both offensively to see what's going on at Melonie's base, or he can wait for a little while because it actually does blind the opponent too and grants vision at the same time. So it's extremely huge to use that in a both offensive or defensive way.
Exactly. And I'm seeing Jimmy grouping up some of the clusters on the map here. Like I said, he's designed to play GLA in a more kind of measured way, not wanting to throw away those units, but wanting to clump them up in the hopes that he potentially can outmass and ensure that none of the bigger units that Melonie is building can just kind of destroy it, eat up his army.
Now, as you guys are seeing, obviously Jimmy is really doing a lot of production structures here. As you guys can see, every GLA structure has its own upgrading setup. For the war factories themselves, they have both the salvage and then it also has the toxin side, each going up 2 tiers. And as you guys see, Jimmy has one of each right now, and he's starting to upgrade them to the level 1 of those sides. He has a barracks that's already, I think, level 2 and going to level 3, and then he has one that's already now, as you guys just saw, going to level 2. So after every single thing that's produced on the production structures, they have to be upgraded individually. This is unique to the GLA.
Yeah, GLA has a really unique feel in that sense, where your buildings have kind of like tech trees of their own, right? You have to make choices with the buildings, and that goes along with the kind of the scrappy nature of the GLA. They have to scrap things together constantly. They have to make wise choices because they just don't have the raw resources that some of the other factions have.
Now, I'm really anticipating the next battle because Jimmy, right there, you guys just saw, he queued up a radar band. The radar band is the new GLA unit that's the caster unit. This has many different things, from landmines to also the other pieces like the smoke screen, which is one of my favorites, to infantry buff as well. So it depends on how you use it. It uses a heat system, so the more you cast, the more heat you build up, and then the less you can cast overall. So you have to wait for that heat to reduce to be able to cast again.
Yeah, and we saw in the little encounter there that just happened. Once again, Jimmy playing kind of a hit-run game, testing Melonie's defenses. Right now, with the raw health of some of the APA tanks and faction, Jimmy is a little bit worried about going straight in with those GLA forces. So he's coming in, getting some shots off. You really see the speed of those technicals. This time he's testing the other side of the base, testing Melonie's defenses there, seeing that Melonie is guarding both sides of the base wisely, not letting anything up. A little bit of a skirmish here. Those technicals doing a drive-by, really. He's managed to get them pincered there.
And it looks like there was really good micro from Jimmy. He put that one technical that's almost dead into the back of the lineup. That way, keeping it still, so it still has the DPS needed, but at the same time, does not lose that guy. Really good micro there by Jimmy.
Yeah, Melonie deciding to swing her entire forces there to that left side of the base. Now backing off. She's wisely just kind of defending, making sure that she can keep her economy up and nothing is getting stolen there on her end.
Yeah, so Jimmy right now, obviously trying to harass any weak point in the base of Melonie Mac, does not find one, but really tries to engage and optimize as best as he can. He does have the scrap repair, I believe it is, and that's actually going to help him just heal his units over time. All those vehicles will just get additional health as the time goes back on. So this is going to be really advantageous for Mr. Jimmy Tran here.
Yeah, one of the ways to adapt your gameplay to your opponent are the various upgrades and abilities you see there. So while they do not come standard on your units, you're kind of it's your prerogative to kind of invest into the units depending on the style you want to play. So Jimmy wisely choosing that scrap repair because he's going to hit and run mode, right? He's trying to get in, do some damage. He knows he's going to take some damage. But with that scrap repair, he's going to then retreat, bide his time, heal up as much as he can, and go in yet again.
Yeah, so right now Jimmy's trying to see a presence on the map. There's one place he hasn't scouted, which is the bottom right corner of the map. She has most likely expanded at this point since he hasn't checked in a while. My prediction hopefully will be true, and it is. It looks like Jimmy was expanding as well. He reminded himself he probably should check if she did as well. And it looks like the drive-by tactic is working perfectly with the technicals. Again, you guys see that they're already healed up and ready to go for that next bout. And right now he's just building units for that next push and trying to catch her off guard. Those red guards are going down. They're not using the garrison structure. And at this point, the technicals counter them pretty easily. And it looks like he's going to start chipping away at that expansion right there.
Yeah, that was a good call for Jimmy, still being on guard here, making sure he has every advantage possible, taking out that expansion. Melonie had some defenses there, but once again was also had to think about defending her main base here. So Jimmy really kind of has her spread all the map. He's using that speed advantage, and now Melonie's finally coming in to clean up those technicals with a portion of her forces at this point.
Loses one right away for the technical, and Jimmy actually is trying to run now. He realizes he doesn't have enough DPS to handle that mess there. That Gatling cannon is great versus the technicals themselves. They are light armor units, so they take a lot more damage versus the gun type, rifle soldiers, Gatling cannons as well, and similar units with that kind of ammo type.
Yeah, now Jimmy feels he's really prepared to bring in that force. He's been sitting out for a little bit, just making sure he's not encountering any sort of sneak attack from Melonie. And now it looks like he's rearing and ready to go. It's going to be interesting to see where he's headed to. It looks like he's going to play it safe, just go for that expansion, take it out, and maybe swing back to the main base. We'll see if Melonie can hold off this push. That is quite a force there. I'm guessing at this point Jimmy has maintained an economic advantage here, so it'll be interesting to see what Melonie can do against this force right now.
Yeah, and as you guys can see here, the GLA once again is not an upfront, like straight up one-to-one, go right against the other person. They're more tactical in the sense of strategy, so really what they have to do is hit a two-prong attack a lot of the times and flank and hit other sides. As you see, Jimmy distracted right away on that left side, which was perfect for him, and now the expansion is wide open for him to just do the damage he needs. He's just using all of his player's powers at the moment and really trying to maximize his damage right away. Hit everything, and then right after that, probably run right back out.
Yeah, he managed to split Melonie's forces there. You see that other scouting squad he had before, they were actually a group of 4, and they got 2 of them were taken out pretty rapidly by Melonie's tanks engagement. So he kind of used that force as a decoy, being able to check Melonie and serve as a fallback plan in case he wasn't able to take out her expansion. But he was successfully able to do that. Like I said, he has Melonie in a little bit of a bind here. She's trying to defend all fronts, and he has the advantage of being able to pick one of 3 fronts just to attack at.
Yeah, and right now this next engagement is going to be really big, right? He has the economical advantage, but for the GLA, if he doesn't use his units successfully, they die really, really fast. So right now those radar bands are critical pieces to the army, and they actually have to cast what they need to, which is most likely the smoke screen and maybe even some landmines to make sure he optimizes his DPS.
We have another attack here. I think that was the, I'm not exactly sure what went down in that player power in the moment. We have a player power going down on Melonie's end. She's dropping something on Jimmy's force. Is Jimmy dropping on hers? Both players. There we go. Smoke screen going down.
Smoke screen action going on. This makes it really hard for the guys to actually attack the GLA there. Melonie Mac is a little bit of a bind here because she's a little bit blind, right? So right now she can't see what's going on. And it looks like Jimmy's advancing with a lot of medium damage units. And right now that was extremely effective.
Yeah. Melonie, what she has to do is she's got to bring her reinforcements to the fold. I can see on the mini map she doesn't have her full force there and able to deal with this army. I think she probably underestimated some of those smoke screen and blinding tactics that Jimmy could execute. She thought that, hey, that little force could stand up against the other GLA force. What she didn't quite realize are the various abilities that Jimmy has at his disposal to evade her damage. And I think by evading her damage, he was able to win that second fight there. And this leaves Melonie in a really unfortunate position. She has no expansion at this point. Main base going down. I think it's going to be GG. Another hard lesson learned at this point.
Now, real quick, Jimmy, because for what you saw there was a lot of explosions going on. He was using the upgrade Skynet from the radar vent. That is a micro-explosive swarm, so a lot of damage going off really quickly in a big area. And obviously, the clumping up of Melonie Mac's units made it really, really well done for that moment in action.
Exactly here. And I think, see Melonie kind of shifting up. She's got a smile on her face. I think this is going to be GG. She's going to be well-mannered here. Looks like we have a surrender coming up, and there it is. GG, Jimmy. GG, Melonie.
So it looks like, unfortunately, Miss Melonie Mac lost, but that's okay. There's always redemption, right?
Well, I think here's the bright side. You know, I was before the cast, they're checking our Twitter feed, and I think they want to see Savop face off against Jimmy this time. They want to see the casters kind of get in the action.
Yeah, I'm hoping Melonie Mac can cover me on the casting part because I can't play and talk at the same time. Unfortunately, I just don't have it.
All right, well, we'll maybe ask you some questions here or there, but let's switch it up a little bit. Savop is going to make this fair. No sound to either player. Melonie, are you on the mic now? Let's see if... Can you talk on the mic just so I can see if I got you here?
Can you hear me? I'm not able to hear you that well, so I'm not sure if we can bounce off each other, but...
Okay, we are picking you up now, so this is good. We'll get some of your commentary and insight too, because you've had the fortune in some ways, misfortune in other ways, to fight off against Jimmy, because you learn lessons really hard, really fast, right? And we're preparing for the next game here, so we're going to have Savop, our man on the desk, face off against Jimmy. It looks like Jimmy's taking another general from the GLA faction, the nickname Traitor or Tactician. He is the base general for the GLA faction, meaning that when you first enter the service Command & Conquer, you get a general from each faction as the base one to test out, and then you can unlock additional generals through the in-game currency, which you earn just naturally from playing, or you can choose to pay some real currency in order to unlock things much faster. And we're off in the second game here. I'm going to be a solo cast while my man Jason faces off. He's got his full attention here. I might ask him some questions along the way, especially when he's winning to even this out. But right now we're watching from Jimmy's perspective. Once again, GLA perspective here. We have the same worker setup. He's got to max out his harvesters at 8 harvesters. I believe he's also deciding to go with the War Factory setup build. He is indeed. Another thing to point out that we hadn't quite pointed out earlier before is that you see the Tactician General, his icon at the bottom of the screen, and the player powers are next. His experience bar and player powers next to that. So far, no player powers yet available. You don't start immediately with those. You unlock those. You lock your first one over time, and everything else is unlocked through earning experience by killing other units. And you see that experience bar at the bottom too. Looks like Jimmy deciding this time to open up immediately with a command center. He knows that Jason is very, very prone to understanding kind of the tactics going on. He is now moving one of his workers out to expand, gather some resources early. And at the same time, he's got a Sandstorm vehicle, which is a light artillery vehicle that is going out there to scout. He knows he's facing against... Actually, one interesting point here is Savop playing the EU faction. His harvesters are actually airborne harvesters that cannot be targeted unless you can hit air. That Sandstorm is actually available to hit air. So Melonie, at this point, you were facing against Jimmy last time. What was going through your mind early game last time?
I was pretty frightened. I know Jimmy's really good. I've been seeing him play, and early game I was just like really anxious to get myself an army so I could protect myself because I knew the massive carnage was impending.
Oh, and Jimmy gets save up there to I don't know if he canceled that or if he managed to destroy that oil derrick. Once again, Save Up knowing the name of the game, he knows that in order to match up with Jimmy, he's going to have to expand and gue resources rapidly too. He understands that the name of the game for GLA is to mass up a lot of units, and the best way to counter that actually, if you're able to out macro them, that is to gather more resources than them, more gold, and then produce more units than them, inherently you're probably going to have an advantage because the GLA's units are the weakest of any of the factions. Just some more scouting going on, Jimmy just sharing the map. Melonie, you've been in this situation a lot where it's a little bit past the early game. You've laid down a lot of your buildings. What have you personally learned to do involving scouting and seeking out additional resources?
I'm sorry, these crowds are extremely loud.
We have a really loud crowd.
But
I'll re-ask the question, Melonie. When you're in this kind of situation, this early game situation, you are obviously an RTS player. You understand scouting. What are you thinking in this early to mid game?
I hate it when people try to scout in my base. It makes me, I like to build my command center right away because it just really upsets me to know that somebody is looking in my base. I like to have complete privacy, so I pretty much just go after the scouts like with rage until I take them out. Yeah,
it is a frustrating thing, and it seems like we have both players invading each other's bases at this point. Save Up doing quite a bit of damage here. Now Jimmy harassing with the Sandstorm, harassing the Bulldozer unit, which is one of the EU's construction units. So, right now Jimmy is in a prevention mode. He knows he's suffering some attacks in his own base. He's trying to ensure that there's no opportunity for Save Up to kind of use that harassment to then expand. A lot of action going on here. I'm actually really impressed by the way Save Up's being able to hold down the action here. Like I said, he understands the game. He's been able to get in a lot of playtests, and he's a pretty capable opponent over at the office.
Except for I lost on stream, right? To Miss Melonie Mac,
yes.
The first day that we were showing off the game, which was pretty rough.
Beautiful. That was a beautiful win. I was super excited about that.
That stung pretty bad, right?
Well, I mean, like I said, Command & Conquer, like any RTS, there are some, base intuitive strats. You don't have to go into your game knowing everything. It's really fun to learn some things. You can go, there are various standard strategy tactics that work in this game as they do in all strategy games. Certainly, committing to one type of unit and massing up can be viable at times against newer players. But once you get to a higher level of the game, you certainly have to mix up your army and use a variety of your special abilities in order to outwit your opponent. This game is interesting. Like I said, seeing skirmishes all over the map, but unlike the previous game where Melonie was more in a defensive pattern, we have Save Up holding a lot of the sides and returning a lot of the fire here. Once again, Jimmy taking out another oil derrick here, ensuring that there is reducing the economy of Save Up here. Melonie
likes to hit people where it hurts, their wallets.
Yeah, exactly. Hit them where they hurt. Melonie, like, tell me, as someone who's in that position where they've lost some derricks and trying to build more and defend them, like, when you're experienced, like, what are you feeling? What's going through your mind at this stage of the game?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all that question. Whenever he takes out what?
When they're taking out the oil derricks, like what's going through your mind, when you're seeing a player like Jimmy try to use these tactics?
I need more money. It's just like, I want to take them out, but at the same time, I don't want to send my whole army out there and leave myself vulnerable. So it's just that fine balance of how many units can I sacrifice to protect this oil derrick and how many units is actually worth it, because I don't want to spend more money in units saving an oil derrick than I have to. So just balancing that out and figuring out if I just need to wait and then put one back there later.
Yeah, so we've, like, Save Up taking it to the front of Jimmy's base here, managing to rain some pain down on that salvage bay. trying to ensure that Jimmy, our GLA player, cannot tech up anymore. GLA player forced to produce more of those rabble soldiers just to counter that attack there, to ensure he doesn't lose a building. He did a good job there. Another thing that's kind of interesting about Jimmy's base, as you notice it's built on that side, he's building it in kind of this, this concave type structure in order to form a pit where he can kind of trap his opponent in should he choose to attack his base. What's interesting though is that he's got very little defense on the left side of his base. So, you know, if Jason, our EU player, were to go in there, he'd find a huge vulnerability there.
Thank you for the tip there, Marcou. I appreciate it.
Pro tip, pro tip. And I mean, that's a good thing. You tend to learn a lot about your own gameplay when you're able to observe and watch, or even listen to someone comment on your play. So it's always good to have like some friendly advice, you know, from a friend or someone you respect, just to kind of coach you along and get better at the game. So that's what we're seeing here. You know, good caster duo always watches out for each other's backs. Yeah, Jimmy here at this point, you know, his usual tactics that we've seen in the previous games aren't working quite as well. But, you know, to his advantage, through all this action, he's managed to earn up some player powers. So the second player power you see next to the tactician there is here, I'm just gonna put Jimmy hover over it, is sabotage. So what sabotage does is allows a GLA faction to go up to a building and put a bomb timer on it. And after about 10 seconds, that bomb explodes, does significant damage. That damage only applies to buildings. A very useful tactic, especially against the EU here. It's possible we could see Jimmy try to get into save ops space and limit his production by going over after those power plants. We'll see. He has not tried the tactic yet, but you know, it's something that that's sabotage's ability that every GLA general has access to, right? So it's, you know, even though each general has specialties, there are certain flavors for each particular faction, and that's actually probably my favorite part about the GLA faction, is that their ability to go after buildings and try to stymie the output of units or to slow down technical production here. Melonie, this is a really close game here. What's going through your mind as you're seeing players? What kind of takeaways do you have here?
Well, I think that it's definitely very close. You're right with that. I'm watching them both play. They're both extremely fast. They have a mission, and this is a very interesting battle right now, but I'm really liking how resourceful Jimmy is with all of his monies. He's doing an awesome job with that.
And another interesting thing we just saw there, so like in the previous game we saw where you know, Jimmy was really using the hit and run tactic to his advantage. He can't quite do it against this general that Savop is using. One of the things that you just saw there with that protective globe was an ability, I think that was Bulk Ward, which allows Savop to hold his ground and give additional defense to all the units there. So Jimmy just trying to run in and do some damage, he can't quite do it. So in that instance, he actually took more damage with his same strategy, just based on the matchup at hand.
Yeah, just real quick to elaborate on that ability that Matt was talking about is actually called the Bulwark. And right now, obviously, it helps mitigate some of that damage right away on level 1, and it upgrades to 2 and 3, mitigating more and more damage, and also the attack rate buff. As I get attacked here, as I'm trying to explain stuff, look at Jimmy go.
No, I'll let you explain, man. You just focus on winning this fight here, because you almost got him. Savop is our EU player, or our EU player is trying desperately to knock down that expansion. Wow, so massive firefight going all around. It looks like though Jimmy is going to prevail this time. Yeah, he's prevailing in this fight. Manages to take out that expansion and gets a promotion ability. So he gets an additional, by leveling up to level 3, he gets an additional ability, he gets an additional rank on Sandstorm. Right, and in this Sandstorm, it has the same properties as level 1, but some additional spice to it. Now, we're at the 11 mark of this match. It's at this point that, oh, there we see that sabotage ability going down on Save Ops oil derricks. There was a little bit of an overkill at that point. I don't know if he put that much force into it. But you know what? Save Ops then just arrives with reinforcements. So maybe that was a really well played sabotage at that point. in order to kind of secure the kill on that oil derrick, make sure nothing else is going down. More skirmishes going down, and Savopolos is bringing his APCs into the fray. He avoids the sandstorm, I think. The second sandstorm goes down and actually increases the range of what's going on there. The Skynet going down once again, doing an area effect damage all over the place. Jimmy doing really well. Another Skynet going down. Jimmy doing really well to take out that force and hold his own, not allowing too many losses there. So, Melonie, based on what you see here, are you thinking that you should have picked the EU faction against GLA at this point? Like, what are the differences you're knowing about what you had available to you as APA versus what we're seeing here with the EU?
I think personally, I wanted to try the EU, but I've never played EU yet, so I kind of went what I was comfortable with. It didn't turn out in my favor, but it does look like EU is accessible, and I think that it would have, even for a first time, would have helped me because Jimmy really plowed through me when I played.
Yeah, one of the things, I mean, the EU, excuse me there, I'm starting to lose my voice. These 4 days of casting are getting to me and shouting over people. But, actually the EU faction, the way we kind of see it in our playtest currently is a nice sturdy base beginning faction, right? They're a little bit slower, but they're sturdy, and they have a wide variety of abilities to kind of help them and keep them viable even against more experienced players. The GLA faction is a little bit tricky. I would say it's not, it kind of has some, excuse me, always carries kind of the standard RTS play, but like I said, it has a lot of customizations that can take a while to get used to. Savopolos in this battle trying to hold his own again. Once again, bulk ward going down, but this time it's just not enough against all those forces. I mean, Savopolos must have been outnumbered like 10-1 there. So although it was a valiant effort to use the bulk ward at that time, probably in the end knew it was certain demise. But that's okay. That bulk ward, Savopolos used it twice this map. These general abilities have a cooldown, so after you use them, they will come back after some time. It could be a minute, it could be 2 minutes, it could be 3 minutes. But they will come back in the relatively short term for another use. And Jimmy, after that kind of like spirited first round, it seems that Jimmy is kind of really reigning in this game at this point, starting to have superior map control, starting to gain more economy. But, he is being tested. I am seeing, if you look at Jimmy's money there in the lower left-hand corner, only 500 gold at this point. He's using it really effectively, and he's being forced to use a lot of his resources rather than just kind of sit on them and anticipate some sort of tech. More action going down on the mini-map. I'm going to see what we settle on here, what the players are actually going to focus on. While I'm waiting to kind of see what focus on, I'm going to personally slide over a little bit just so I can get a little bit more of a glimpse of Savopolos' screen there. So we have another sandstorm going down the map, slowing Savopolos a few units. He's deciding to retreat them. Jimmy in the middle of the map with another set of his forces. We have a little bit of a pit stop for Savopolos here. He's preparing himself for his next on-camera moment. When he should be focusing on the game, I think, one of those things is, you kind of have this notion that you can kind of sit back and relax while you're playing games. I think with an RTS game, it's always fast and furious action. You really have to be in the game moment to moment. You can't just kind of like sit back and take a sip of your soda or, eat your chips or apply your makeup in the case of Jason or Melonie at this time. Melonie, have you ever tried to apply makeup to yourself in the middle of a video game?
In the middle of a game? I can't say that I've tried that before. I think I get too focused on the game, but Savopolos really showing me up right now, and I can't even tell which glass is mine because of the lipstick. Is it him or is it me?
Yeah, and so we have Jimmy finally getting some confidence here, pushing into Savopolos' base, taking out a lot of his forces, now nailing on his war factory. His base is wide open and exposed. The power plant is open for attack, the command center, the barracks. Now we're in a lower power situation for Savopolos on the EU faction. What that means is that he's going to be building units at a much slower pace, but I don't know if it matters at this stage of the game, as Jimmy's clearly cleaning up all of his main base, dropping player powers, dropping Skynet, dropping smoke, dropping sabotage. Oh man! Oh,
snap, the
that base
carnage.
is just a wasteland at this point. I'm not sure there's any coming back, but we've come to the 16-minute mark of this game, which is pretty impressive considering the depth of Jimmy's play. Jimmy just heading over, that's the cleanup crew at this point. The GLA janitorial squad, if you will. He knows Savop has some expansions up there. Well, another bulk wood going down from Savop, trying to shelter his forces as best as he can. More smoke screens, more Skynets going down. I mean, the GLA is really reliant on these kind of like subterfuge tactics and kind of jerky play.
And the game ends with A.
GG. We're saying GG. It looks like Savop has had enough here. Once again, Jimmy, our man.
Why can't we beat Jimmy, man?
victorious.
Why can't we beat Jimmy?
Yeah, that's a great question. Why can't we beat Jimmy? Hashtag why can't we beat Jimmy?
Yeah.
Well, technically you did beat him yesterday,
that's
right?
true, I
Which
did.
was pretty awesome in like
Demolition
less than
General.
5 minutes. But this
I
time
was
around, I
excited.
think he practiced a little bit more, brought his A game, and showing off here and just dominating.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jimmy. You know what? We're gonna kind of go back to our setup here. Thoughts? Like, let's talk a little bit what we saw the GLA faction. So both of you guys had the chance to play against our pro Jimmy, play against his tactics. What have we learned today?
What I noticed is they might not be the most like technology advanced,
Yeah.
but they're aggressive and they have a mission. They're passionate. They have heart. Whenever you see the GLA forces, like, it doesn't matter what kind of technology you have, you still tremble.
Everyone likes an underdog, even if they are a terrorist faction. It's
Wow! It's
comment.
plugging that one in quick. Oh boy. I would say for me, myself, like if you notice, Jimmy really didn't engage me one-on-one right away. When he did, I used my player powers, but he immediately ran away. For the general I had with Mercury Red there, I mean, he is really all about holding his position. And Jimmy used that really well to my disadvantage and ran away when I used my player powers, engaged when I didn't have him up anymore, and he really used that timing perfectly. But until he knew he could win, he didn't engage with all his units until that time frame hit.
It felt like the first time though you dropped some of those defensive player powers, you actually had a slight advantage. I don't know if you felt that way, but I guess the experienced player Jimmy is he realized what you were trying to do and he adapted himself to that.
Yeah, he definitely did, and it actually played out really well for him. I thought I had the advantage at the beginning. That's why I tried to do expansions a little bit too aggressively, double dozer, going oil derrick to oil derrick, then to the supply center, which kind of was my demise. She was shaking her head at me and nudging, and I was just like, oh, that must mean I'm not doing something right. But she was trying to help me out a little bit, and of course, then Jimmy comes right back into it and kills me, but destroying the expansions right away.
Yeah, we're gonna continue to talk more about the GLA faction, but I just want to remind everyone so that after we finish our discussion here, we are going to be taking questions on Twitter. So please tweet to @officialcnc.cnc. That's 3 letters there. C, the letter C, letter N, letter C. Official CNC. Hashtag Command and Conquer. We're about to pull up the Twitter feed and check out some of your questions after we just kind of summarize our final thoughts on the GLA here. I guess, just kind of taking the GLA into perspective, we've had all 3 faction days. We've been able to test out the APA, the EU, and the GLA. What are some of the broader takeaways that you guys have that we've kind of seen at this Gamescom about the GLA and compared to how the APA plays and how the EU plays?
You want me to take that question, Melanie?
You can start.
Okay. So I would definitely say for the GLA, it's definitely harder to adapt. It's almost like you kind of get knocked out of your comfort zone. So a lot of the times you don't feel like you got your groove going, and that's what Jimmy kind of messed me up with. I felt like I was dancing pretty good, and then all of a sudden hit that like the white man syndrome, and then couldn't get into it. So unfortunately, that's how the GLA plays, and I think he adapted it extremely well there. So he kind of gave me that crazy feeling.
That crazy heebie-jeebie feel. Are you saying you got weak in the knees?
I did. He kind of gave me that dubstep, and I was like, oh crap, what do I do with that? You know what I mean? And so I couldn't play that one off.
He broke your ankles, if you will, to use a basketball expression.
I got 2 left feet, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden the music played, I was like, what do I do?
And he broke both of them.
Yes, exactly.
Melanie, any final thoughts on the GLA in comparison to kind of the other factions you've
I think
played?
like what you were saying, they feel like the underdogs. When I played them and I first started out, and started building my units, I'm like, okay, for some reason I don't feel as powerful at the beginning as I do like when I play APA, for example. And you gotta play smart, and you gotta know what you're doing, and you gotta attack at the right time. You can't just like go like all out right away, because they're a little bit more of an underdog from my perspective. So very interesting, and I like it.
Well, we're going to go all out here on the Twitter questions.
Yes.
Pulling up the Twitter feed here, we've gotten some interesting things. I'm going to be looking out for a little bit more GLA-specific questions here, but in the time we have quite a few general questions that I think we should answer at this point.
All right, let's see.
It's like pulling from a hat. Which one do you
Yes,
pick?
so right now Jasper wants to know, what are we looking at in terms of spectator UI and broadcasting for CNC?
Yeah, that's a good initial question, and Jasper's actually my man from Southeast Asia. Like I've known that guy for a while, so glad to know he's tuning into the show, because I don't think he's here, and if he is here, he's kind of a jerk because he never said hi to me. But even though well, we'll assume he's not here, and he's just saying that's his way of saying hi. But so spectator UI and broadcast. So spectator UI, we are planning to have some mode of spectator. We are still in early alpha, so actually the way we're showing you these games, we're showing you them from the player's perspective for two reasons. One, because it gives you a little more sense about how how our players here, how people are playing the game. You get that, how do you say, the first-person view, if you will. Secondly, we are still working to polish up a really awesome spectator UI. I mean, the base goals of that are to provide a clean way for you to learn to play, watch your friends, for potential esports and tournament broadcasts. So we're kind of looking at the state of various games out there, making sure we bring in the best types of features. Also, we want to listen to you guys as to what new innovations you would like to see in a spectator mode. And we have a commitment to release more cool features like that.
Yeah, it's in the lineup. It's somewhere back there, but at this time we can't really elaborate when. But we're focusing as best we can on the gameplay first, and then moving on to that directly afterwards.
Great.
All right, and Matt O'Brien wants to know what movements we will see EA investing into CNC esports next year. Anything exciting?
Well, I hope it's exciting. That's the goal. Once I feel we hit that level. I mean, right now, what we're doing is just focusing on the core gameplay. So we want to make sure we have a fun and balanced game, because without a fun and balanced game, no one really deserves the right to call himself an esport. An esport is really about putting out a great product and taking the passion of the community and giving them competitions at a higher and higher level.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you. It's more in the hands of the community themselves to make it more of an esport than it is for us to say it's an esport. I know you've taught me that, Matt, a lot. So that's definitely something that we would love to see, but as of right now, we want to make sure the game's balanced, gameplay feels good, fun, and we want to start there first.
Great. I'm still scrolling down the Twitter feed here, making sure we're not missing any.
I have a question here from Michael, and he wants to know, what is your favorite faction in CNC?
I'll let Jason take that one first.
I personally love the EU faction a lot, but I have to say the GLA because of their personality, because they're kind of that harassment, get you out of the funk kind of setup. I think they're the best in my opinion. They're my favorite. And so overall, I just like to throw people off their game and see, kind of knock you off your socks there a little bit. And then after that, kind of reap the benefits of making sure that I take the victory. So for me, the GLA kind of plays to my mentality of that hit and run, rush, and never fully engage until I know I can win.
Yeah, to answer from my side, the faction I've been gravitating most to is the APA. I just feel that they're kind of like this Swiss Army knife. Like, they are adaptable to a lot of situations. Since today is GLA day, I don't always find I like the hit and run play of the GLA. I don't know if that's really my style. I like to be more direct, but I don't want to feel like I am always the slow juggernaut going in there. So I tend to gravitate toward APA. They have some really cool tricks and tactics, as we saw on the second day. I like playing with fire. I like all the fire tanks.
I would agree, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I gotta say, and we saw this the other day, the Gatling tank was, I haven't used it in a while, but it's one of my consistently favorite units, because I feel it has a lot of adaptability, and I'm never surprised by air units. And I'm going to throw the question back at you, Melanie. What has been your faction?
I have to go with APA as well. I still need to try out EU and see how they play, but just for the nostalgia of it all, I played Infantry General on 0 Hour, and I just really like APA. I like Red Arrow a lot. I think she's awesome, and I pretty much have that one trick up my sleeve with my Infantry Rush, so it works for me, and I need to develop new strategies with different factions so that I can have a broader perspective on this.
Nice. And we have a couple more questions coming in. Some of them, unfortunately, are coming in French and German. If only we had some sort of magic translation tool. Actually, there are some on the phone, but I didn't bring mine with me here. So sorry, French and German questions. We only sprechen the English. And
I hope he didn't hack that too hard.
I
I
hacked that terribly, but it's okay. I just have to. I'm demonstrating why it's not going to work to give us other languages here, right?
I guess that's a good demonstration if you hacked it. That's perfect,
exactly. Right? But we have some more questions coming in here that we can answer.
Yes. Right now, Matthias wants to know how many exclusivities will there be between each general, and what is the approach for choosing them?
Any part of that you want to take, Jason?
How many extremities? How many
exclusivities? This thing, why? In which ways are they unique?
Okay, so it actually depends on the generals themselves. Some of them have a lot more than others, and right now we're still tuning to make that feel right. Initially, right now, it's the player powers right off the bat. Each one of them definitely has their own unique player power. And then on top of that, usually at least a couple units are unique to them. For instance, Pyro has the Dragon Tank, and then possibly another infantry unit that is more unique to him, and then maybe an upgrade here or there at this time. We're continuing to look and evolve. Some other generals actually have a little bit more, and so it just depends on the general you select. But overall, we look to tune and make it a little bit better overall to make it more unique for each general.
Yeah, each general, shares the attributes of their base faction, right? They gotta fit in with that base faction. So Jason is right. Certainly, always unique player power, a shared faction player power at least. I would say, 2 or 3 units to them that you don't see often within the general faction. But like I said, we're constantly adapting the state of the game to see what makes sense. We're certainly committed to the balance part of the game and creating more units when we need them, and even taking out units or adapting them if they don't quite work out well.
All right, and David wants to know, will hotkeys and UI be customizable?
I'll take that one.
Yeah.
So in the future, they will be. We can definitely guarantee that. That right now is something that we want to plan towards. At the moment, we haven't done that yet. We still feel like there's a lot of other features both within the front end, the main menu itself, and also the gameplay that we need to focus on and get right first before we can move on to the additional features that feel a little bit better. I know another one that's a big topic is that tab selection setup when you have a group of different caster units or units that have different abilities to them. That's something that's on there too that we have to get to as well. But again, we have to focus on the meat first, and then we can look at the trimmings later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. As I keep reiterating, we are in an alpha stage right now. We feel the game is at a point where it's really good and fun. So that's why we're spreading it out more so people can try it. We need that cycle of feedback, of kind of like trial and error, where hey, we're going to put something out, we think it's good, we pass it to you. See if you, the fans, think it's good. If you don't, we change it. If you like it, hey, that's
we move on, right?
Yeah, I guess
to the next thing.
Yep, exactly. Then we get to think of more fun things to do.
Exactly.
But it's all about the gameplay and balance first. So with that said, guys, I think it's time to close out GLA Day. I know it's tough. It's a really fun faction, but I think it's about time.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you tomorrow, Matt, do we have an extra treat for the fans? What's going on tomorrow? It's the last day, right? What's going to happen?
Yeah, tomorrow is the last day of Gamescom, unfortunately, but we're going to go out with a bang. So we're going to dedicate the last day of Gamescom to you, the community. So we're going to show you actually some kind of behind-the-scenes insight into our booth presence here. We actually yesterday we had a series of live community meetings. We had a community summit here in the halls of Gamescom, we actually also went on a kind of a special excursion. We went on a cruise of the Rhine River with all of our CNC fans. It was very romantic, as you all can imagine.
Intimate is the word he's looking for. Very intimate. That blue light special, you know, that moonlight across the eyes, grazing his eyes. It was beautiful.
It was a beautiful thing, but we're going to give you the insight on how we answered the questions from some of our fans who were able to make it here, some of our most passionate fans from some community sites you may have seen, Game Replays, United Forums. Those are some great places. If you're looking for more information for Command & Conquer, you can go to those websites, check out information, both available in German, English, and a couple other languages. But tomorrow, we're going to show you, we're going to share those experiences with you and close out Gamescom with a bang.
Yeah, tomorrow may be the last day, but we will close this show out just like we started this show and get this all going all at once tomorrow.
That means I have to beat you.
Yeah, I know. Tomorrow should be the rematch. I have to try to redeem myself. If I lose again, it's going to be really bad. I'm going to be like sad on the flight home, but
it's going to be, yeah, you're never going to hear the end of it.
I'm depressed for like a week.
And you know the funny thing is that everyone on Twitter and everyone who sees you at the event is going to remind you about it constantly.
Unfortunately, yes, it's going to be one of those moments that will be immortalized, and I will not be able to let it down.
Exactly. Well, guys, we didn't let you down for this show. We hope you enjoyed what we saw, but it is the end of our show today. Thank you for tuning in. See you tomorrow on the last day of Gamescom.